Hey YouTube, this is Fence Kid coming at you. Today I'm going to be making a two-sided ring out of a regular quarter. This coin has no silver content in it whatsoever, so there's nothing really special about it other than the fact it's going to be a ring when I'm done. Now when I say two-sided ring, I mean that this one's from Alabama, or the state Alabama. Is going to be on the outside of the ring. The word Alabama 1819, the scroll underneath her I'm going to try to get in there, the spirit of courage it says on it, and also obviously the vegetation on either side of it. This is going to be on the outside of the ring, and you know, the United States of America $quarter will be on the inside of the ring. So I thought I'd turn on the camera and take you along for the ride. It's pretty simple. Now you are going to need a few tools to get this taken care of, and you probably don't have this one laying around the house. Most importantly in this is you need a mandrel, a jeweler's mandrel. This is solid steel. It's got the mark indicators on it and the labels on there so you know what size you're at as you're working your ring down it. I'll link below this video on where I got this one. I got this one off of Amazon. It's like 15 bucks for this one. You'll need something to drill a hole in the center of your ring. I'm going to be using a cheap punch and die set. I got this one from Harbor Freight. I'll also link it below where I got this one. This one keeps it simple, easy for me. You can get away with drilling a hole in the center of the ring and you'll be fine. So you don't necessarily have to have this, but you'll need something to put a hole in the center of that coin. You're going to need some sandpaper of some type. I like to use these sand blocks because they're foamy, they're flexible, they're real cheap. You can get these Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, wherever. You'll need a standard hammer of any kind, and what I'm going to be using, what is the easiest way, is a 3/4 inch PVC pipe. It's got to be schedule 40, so make sure you get the thick stuff. Don't get that thin stuff or it's not going to work. You don't necessarily have to have a cap, but I happen to have one laying around, so I put one on mine. And so we're going to get started. I'll take you along for the ride and show you how to do it. Here we go. Now before I start manipulating this quarter, I want to talk to you just briefly about the law. I know half you guys out there that are watching this is probably going to think this is illegal. What is illegal is taking a 25-cent coin and manipulating it into what appears to be a 50-cent coin or a dollar, something of higher value than what it was in the first place. That's called fraud, fraudulent intent, and that is illegal. So let's get started. Now what I like to do is first of all take the die or the punch and put it on the outside of the coin and eye it up. So what you're seeing here around this die is what's going to be on the outside of your ring. I know this isn't the exact coin that I showed you in the beginning, but this is just to give you the idea. And what I do is I put it on here, eye it up, make it look just as sweet as possible, make sure I get what I want on there, and then trace around it. Once you've done that, you slide it on over into your punch and die set. You know, these are separated. This just slides in. Okay, you put the die in it and then punch through it. And so now that I've got my coin centered and ready to go, I'm just going to hit it with a hammer, wham! And that's going to punch that out, no problem. Alright, cool. Once you've got that on there, centered up and ready to rock, you're just going to give it a nice whack right on there. I'm using a little heavier hammer because when you hit that the first time, that's going to put a nice little divot in it. Hold it. Okay, hold it steady and whack it. Boom, just like that. We're through. It's going to be a little stiff. Don't go too hard on you. And I'll follow it up with another punch or something to push that all the way through. And just like that. That was easy, huh? A lot better than drilling it out anyway. I planned on making a lot of these rings, so I went and bought the die, and that's how easy it is. Keeps it real simple. Nice clean punch, too. Okay, once you've got your coin punched out, you are going to throw it over the top of your mandrel with the side that you want on the outside of the ring up. You want to be looking at the outside right here. Then you're going to just lay your mandrel flat like so. Take your 3/4 inch PVC pipe and you're going to put it right over the top, and you're just going to start thumping on that with a hammer, slow and easy. And as you work it down the mandrel, it's going to get wider, and once you get it down to about a size, probably about a size 8, size 7 or 8, it's going to look just like this. And as you can see, we've got it mushroomed out quite substantially at about a size 8. Now you see that gap right there between the ring and the mandrel? In order to correct that, as we keep going down the lot, we're going to knock this off. Just take a hammer or a mallet, rubber mallet, whatever. It'll take a little bit to work it off there. Oh, there it goes. Then you're going to take, and instead of going back over it right the same way, just flip it over, okay? So the narrow side is now down. And then proceed as usual. Take your pipe, get it back on it, and thump it down. And this will get you down to about a size 11, 10.5, 11. When you're about to a 10.5 or 11, it's going to look like, just like that. And you can see we're about a size 11, and we've got the ring folded all the way over really close to the mandrel. So now that you've got that done, you're there. I mean, now let's just knock this bad boy off and have a look. Real close like. And so you know, once you're to this point here, this top edge here is the edge that we punched, and obviously this outside edge is the outside of the coin. You can see all the rivets on there. You can also see how it's bulging out right here around this rim all the way around. So we're going to take a little sandpaper and we're going to file off the inside. These are a little bit sharp right through here. Simple, real easy. Watch this. You take your sponge or your sandpaper and you just put your ring down and you just sand that down real. Doesn't take long. Alright, we've got that sanded down nice and sweet. It's no longer sharp and no longer cut you. Now if you wanted to go wider than this, right? I already told you this is about a size 11. If you wanted to go wider than this, well, you just basically all you're going to do is just keep on thumping with that with your PVC. Just keep thumping it and you'll be able to stretch this all the way down to about a 12, maybe even a 12.5. But I would advise, you know, on the inside here, the side we just sanded down, make sure you sand that down before you really start stretching on this ring, because it'll have a tendency to split and crack, and if you don't want that. And that is as good as done right there. I mean, you could go right there, but I don't like this outside edge here where the rivets are. It sticks out, you know what I mean? So I'm going to sand this edge right here with your sandpaper all the way around it. And it's pretty simple. You just take your sandpaper, hold your ring, and at like a 45, you're just going to start this action. Okay, I know I'm blocking it and you can't really see that well, but you're just going to sand at a 45 and try to just slowly work on that lip. And then when you've got that all the way around, nice and smooth, it won't be bulging out on you like that. And I also like to sand this side as well at a 45. Try to take off any, I just like a little bit of an angle. You can see a picture right here I'm going to throw at you at what this angle looks like after it's been sanded. How it's really smooth and good looking right there, you see that? And so that's really about it. I mean, now you can just, now you just detail it with sanding, and then you're done. After you're done, you're going to put a nice little coat of polish on it, and you're good to go. Not too shabby, right? Anyway, that's how you do it. That's how I do it anyway. I'm sure there's more than one way to skin a cat, but that's how I roll. These state quarters can also be purchased in silver. I find them on eBay, like I find a lot of my silver coins. But you can get these state quarters at 90% silver as well. So I would just practice on these regular quarters. Once you get your technique down, you know what you're doing, you're ready to rock and feel a little bit more comfortable thumping on a more expensive coin, and go for it. And then you can have your silver ring. You know, they bling out a lot harder. You can see right there alone. Silver, quarter. There's your difference right there. That's silver, quarter, silver. So there is a difference, but they still look good. So I'm going to sand this down real well. I'll show you the final product. Hang on. So, I think I'm about good with that. Last but not least, I'll put a coat of polish on it. Make it shine like a mirror. Well, almost. Not quite like silver, but it'll sure be shiny. And another thing, while I've got you rolling here and I got your attention, if you're still with me, if you offset that hole when you first punch it and you don't get it right in the center, here's a real extreme case of what I'm talking about. You can see it's real wide up front, and then as you spin around, it's real narrow. And that's all that's happened there is we've just offset. In fact, it was so narrow, you see how I split it? As I was working it down that mandrel. So that's why I stopped working on it immediately. This could have been much more flattened, you know, so it's not such a, you know, so it's a lot wider up on top, a lot more narrow underneath. But this can be done with all kinds of coins in different ways and different looks to them. Well, there it is. There's your final product right there. I can't seem to get the Alabama to show you very well because the light I've got to work with today, but there it is. Just right. Kind of weird, huh? That polish really thrashes your hands. Alabama. What do you know about that? Not too bad for a quarter. The silver ones really jump out at you. But, you know, for a 25-cent coin, it came out pretty good. This is Fence Kid coming at you. Have a good one, guys.